Hello, Superior Home Appliances. This is Ian here.
Oh, hello, yes. I have a new fridge and I'm ringing to report a fault with it. I need you to send someone out to have a look at it.
Okay, I'll fill in a customer complaint form and arrange for one of our repair agents to come out to you.
Okay then.
Now, can I just get some contact details from you for the form? Your name is?
Jessica? Jessica Brown.
Okay. And if I can just get a contact telephone number?
Our home phone number is 5823-2210.
Got it. Now, can I get some more details about the fridge?
Well, it's been playing up since yesterday afternoon.
I see. And is it still under warranty?
Well, I should think so. It's only a couple of weeks old.
That's fine then. Now, I just need to get some more information about the make and model. Is it a top mount, a bottom mount, or a side-by-side?
The freezer is on top.
And have you got the model number there?
Yes, it's here on the instructions booklet. It's S654391X.
Okay, so it's silver in colour.
That's right. I thought it was so much nicer than the usual white ones.
Now, if I could just get a few details from you. First, when did you buy the fridge?
Well, as I said, it was only a few weeks ago, but I don't have the receipt in front of me at the moment. I do know that it was delivered on the 6th of February.
Okay, well, I can use that date to search on the computer. Here it is. It says here you bought it on January the 12th. Now, what exactly is wrong with the fridge?
Well, my fridge is fitted with an alarm, and it started to go off. It made an awful noise.
So what was wrong?
Well, when I went to check the freezer, it felt pretty warm. It's 10 degrees, and it should be minus 18, so everything is melting. And then the main part of the fridge doesn't seem to be working either.
I see.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 6 to 10.
I've made a note of that on the form, and I'll pass it on to the service agent.
When can they come and fix it?
Let's find the closest one to you. Let's see. That's Ken's Appliances, and they've got 2 centres in your area, one near the station and another one in the shopping centre.
Well, we're miles away from the shopping centre, so the station one would be closer.
I'll ring them in a minute, but I should warn you it could take a day or two for them to get to you.
What? What am I going to do without a fridge? Look, there's a fridge full of food there and it's all going off. I'll have to throw it all out, you know.
Yes, I do sympathise.
It's not just that. This is going to affect my business. I run a sandwich shop, and that's where I keep my stock.
I see. Look, Jessica, if you tell me how much the stock is worth, we can send you a cheque for that amount, though there is a maximum of $250.
Well, I've just filled it with $180 worth of meat and salads, so that would be something, I suppose. But how long is my business expected to survive without a fridge? It's just not good enough.
Yes, I understand your concerns, but that's all I can really offer you.
Well, I'd like to speak to someone higher up about this.
I can ask my manager to ring you back by close of business today. Would that be acceptable?
Yes, thank you.
I do apologise for all the inconvenience. Is there anything else I can help you with?
Actually, there is one more thing. The door has a dent in it, on the left-hand side. It wasn't there in the shop, so it must have happened when it was delivered. I'd like that replaced too.
I'll make a note of that too. You'll be hearing from us very soon.
Now turns to part 2. Part 2.
You are going to hear a conversation.
First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 17.
Now, listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 17.
Rita speaking. What should I do for you?
Oh, hi. I'd like to order some stationery.
Could I know your name?
Jackson Paris.
Right. Can I just confirm your account number and the name of your company, Jackson?
Sure. The number is 692411.
692411. Right. And you're from Rainbow Computer?
No, the company is Rainbow Communications.
Oh, OK. I'll just fix that on the system. Communications. And what would you like to order, Jackson?
Envelopes. We need a box of A4, that is, normal size envelopes.
White, yellow or manila?
We'll have the plain white, please, but the ones with the little windows.
OK, one box. A4, white. Just one box, was it?
On second thoughts, make those 2 boxes. We go through heaps of envelopes. As a matter of interest, are they made from recycled paper?
No, you can't get white recycled paper. The recycled ones are grey, and they're more expensive, actually.
Right, we'll stick to white then.
Something else, Jackson?
Yes, we need some coloured photocopy paper. What colours do you have?
We've got purple, light blue, blue, light green, whatever you want pretty much. There are 500 sheets on the pack.
Let me see. We're going to need a lot of blue paper for our new price lists. So can you give us 10 packs, please? Make sure it's the light blue, though.
10 packs of the light blue. Anything else that we can help you with?
Let me think. What else do we need? I'm sure there was something else.
Pens, paper clips, fax paper, computer supplies, office furniture.
Oh, yes. We need floppy disks. Do you have those nice coloured ones?
Yes, but they're a bit more expensive than the black ones.
That's all right. I'm not paying anyway.
Right, floppy disks. What about diaries next year? We've got them in stock already, and it's a good idea to order early.
No, I think we're all right for diaries, but something we do need is one of those big wall calendars. You know, one that shows the whole year at a glance. Do you stock those?
We certainly do.
OK, can you include a wall calendar then, with the other stuff? Just make sure it's got the whole year on the one side.
Sure.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 18 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 18 to 20.
And do you have a copy of our new catalogue?
No, I don't. But would you send one?
Yes, I'll pop one in with the order. You'll find it a lot easier to remember what you need if you have our catalogue in front of you next time.
Yes, good idea. And when can you deliver this?
Should be with you tomorrow morning.
Can you make sure that it's not after 11:30 a.m? Because we have to go out at 12. There's only myself here on Fridays.
Fine. I'll make a note in the delivery docket that they should deliver before 11:30. Thanks very much.
Thanks.
That is the end of part 2.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 3.
Mr. Jackson, who feels that he is physically unfit, is consulting with his doctor about his health condition. Before you listen to their conversation, you have a chance to read questions 21 to 24. Now please listen to the recording and answer questions 21 to 24.
Well, Mr. Jackson, The first and important thing I have to tell you is that there is really nothing seriously wrong with you. Physically, that is. My very thorough re-examination and the analyst's report show that basically you are very fit. Yes, very fit.
So, why is it, Doctor, that I'm always so nervy, tense, ready to jump on anybody? My wife, children, colleagues.
I think your condition has a lot to do with, shall we call it, way of life, habits?
Way of life? Habits?
Yes. Now tell me, Mr. Jackson, you smoke, don't you?
Yes, I'm afraid I do, Doctor.
And rather heavily, I imagine.
Well, yes. I smoke, about 40, 50 a day, I suppose.
You should do your best to stop, you know.
Yes, I see. But, it won't be the first time. I've tried to give up smoking several times, but it's no good.
You see, 50 a day is overdoing it, you must admit. You must cut down at least that. Ah, yes. I know that when you're feeling tense, you probably feel that a cigarette relaxes you. But in the long run, I do advise you to make a real effort to quit smoking.
Of course, but, it's easy to say give it up or cut it down, but, you know.
Well, in my opinion, you have no choice. Either you make a real effort or there's no real chance of your feeling better. You see, well, obviously I could prescribe some kind of tranquilizer, but would that help? I'd prefer, and I'm quite sure you'll agree, I'd prefer to see you really back to normal, not just seemingly so. And that's my reason for asking you several more questions about your other habits.
Right.
Now you have a chance to read questions 25 to 30. As you listen to more of their conversation, answer questions 25 to 30.
Your eating habits, for example. What do you eat normally, during a normal day?
Yes, I'm a good eater. Yes, I'd say I'm a good eater. Now let's see. Up at 8 in the morning, and my wife has a good breakfast ready.
A good breakfast?
The usual. A cereal followed by bacon and eggs with fried bread and perhaps a tomato or two. Then toast and marmalade, all washed down with a couple of cups of tea. Yes, I really enjoy my breakfast.
Yes, I can see you do, but I'd advise you to eat rather less. We'll come to that later. Go on.
Then lunch. No, first brunch. A cup of coffee and a bun at 11. Lunch has to be quick, because there's so much to do in the office about that time, so I have a pint and a sandwich in the pub. All very hurried.
Try to be in less of a hurry.
But I make up for it in the evening. I get home at about 7. Dinner's around about 8. Yes, my wife's an excellent cook. Excellent. It's usually some meat dish, and we like spaghetti as a first course. Spaghetti, a meat dish, cheese, sweet. But then, at the end of the day, shall we say, then I begin to feel on edge again. Most evenings after dinner, we read or watch TV, but I get this terrible feeling of tension.
Well, I'm sorry to have to say this because you obviously enjoy your food, but I really do recommend that you eat less, and secondly, that you eat more healthily. Instead of having that enormous breakfast, for example, try to be content with fruit juice and some cereal.
I see, but
11 says right. Well, that's all right, But lunch should be more leisurely. Remember, your health is at stake, not your job. As for dinner, I'd advise you to eat a soup, perhaps, with a salad. A salad followed by some fruit.
But my wife's cooking
is superb, granted. And she probably enjoys preparing delicious meals for you. If you like, well, I'll have a word with your wife.
No, that won't be necessary. Thanks just the same, Doctor, but no.
That is the end of part 3.
You now have 30 seconds to check your answers.
Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Good morning, everyone. In today's psychology lecture, I'll be talking about human memory. And what I want to do first is establish the historical context. So I'll outline various ideas about human memory and how they've changed over time. So first, early cultures. Now, in the earliest times, let's say before 3,000 years BC, people were dependent on being able to remember things, perhaps even more than we are today. That's because humans could not write. The skill hadn't been developed. So a good memory was important. For one thing, it helped people navigate in the area around their homes, and it was the only way to access family history and ancestry. What's more, a good memory might be the difference between life and death. Most people were hunters and gatherers, so it was essential to understand which foods were poisonous and which were not. This was particularly true of plants because they sometimes looked very similar, and the only way to store this information and pass it on to the next generation was to remember it. Unfortunately, because it was so long ago, there's limited information about what techniques were used to assist memory. Okay, so moving on now to the ancient Greeks. And the Greek poet named Simonides, who lived around 500 BC, was the man sometimes described as the father of memory training. Simonides' most important idea was that it's much easier to remember information if we connect it with one particular place. Then, over hundreds of years, other Greek scholars developed his ideas about memory, and a lot of this information has survived. So, we know that, by the 1st century, the Greeks believed that people could use their human senses to improve their memory, and this was particularly true when it came to sight. There was a strong connection there, they believed. Well, next I should talk about the ancient Romans, who, like the Greeks, believed memory training was extremely important. They used memory in many different ways, obviously, but most of all, in ancient Rome, people thought that one of the greatest skills was the ability to give an impressive speech in public, and memory was one of the keys to doing that. So this was why, from about 100 BC, the Romans wanted to develop techniques to improve memory. And an important figure here was Cicero, a Roman political leader. One of Cicero's ideas was that humans actually have two types of memory. There's a memory that can be developed, which he called the artificial memory, and there's another type of memory which he called natural. And the point is that you can learn techniques to help improve your artificial memory, an idea that's interested some academics ever since. So, moving next to later European history, and the first thing to note is that during the Middle Ages, a group of academics called the Scholastics were also interested in memory techniques. The Scholastics used these techniques when they were instructing pupils about religion, and this raised the profile of memory techniques. But later, attitudes towards memory began to change, and this started in the 17th century. People began to see memory training as an art form, and that didn't interest them so much anymore because they thought that science had the answers to most human questions. This attitude really continued into the 19th century as well. Children weren't taught memory techniques, but were expected to learn lots of facts, and to do this by constantly repeating things like dates and so on. Okay, so then we come to modern times, and in the 1940s, a remarkable series of studies was conducted with a man known simply as S. Psychologists found that S never made notes about anything, although he was a journalist and never forgot facts. The researchers concluded that S had an unusual medical condition, which meant he developed incredible memory skills. This was important as it seemed to support the ideas of the ancient Greeks and other much earlier scholars. But in the later part of the 20th century, the focus switched to computers. Okay, well, that's the historical context. Let's now turn to...